Welcome, Algebra 2. This is section 5-4, dividing polynomials. The essential question is, how will you divide polynomials? Let's begin. So there's two methods for dividing polynomials, long division method and synthetic division. We're going to learn the long division method. I'm not going to bother with synthetic division right now. If you want to learn this, you can learn it on your own or ask me about that. I can show you it. But one method will be good enough. Some vocabulary just to remind you. This is we're dividing numbers. We have our divisor is the number or the polynomial that's on the outside to the left. The dividend is the thing that's inside the dividing sign. Quotient is what's going to end up on top, and we'll have a remainder over here on the right. Just a reminder, how do you do long division? Just 21, if you want to divide 672 by 21, you say, okay, how many times 21 go into 67? You say, oh, 3 times. You go 3 times 21 is going to be 63. And you subtract that. You're left with 4, and then you drop down the 2. How many times 21 go into 42? 2 times. 2 times 21 is 42. When you subtract this, you're left with 0, so you have no remainder. That's how you do long division. When you do polynomials, it's similar math. So for example, instead of writing it with the numbers, I wrote this as polynomials. So it's 21, 2x plus 1, 672, 6x squared plus 7x plus 2. It's the same idea, but you're going to have a polynomial. So what you look at is you look at the left term here, and you're looking at 6x squared right here. How many times did 2x go into 6x squared? And that's going to be, go in 3x times, or 3 times. You're looking at 2x times what is 6x squared? That's going to be 3x. Because 2x times 3x is 6x squared. So you go 3x times 2x is going to be 6x squared. 3x times 1 is going to be 3x. And you're subtracting the bottom here. So when you subtract the bottoms, these will cancel out. 6x squared minus 6x squared, so that should always cancel. And then you'll get a number over here on the right term. 7 minus 3 is going to be 4x. The next step, I drop down this 2, so it would be plus 2. How many times does 2x go into 4x? Or 2x times what is 4x? Well, that's going to be 2. So plus 2. So 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 1 is 2, and you're subtracting the bottoms. So those cancel out to 0, and 2 minus 2 is also 0. So instead of getting 32, I got an answer of 3x plus 2. So it's a very similar algorithm there. What happens though what do we do with the remainder? Well, we have two options here. I'm going to do the math on the first one. So again, just an example of this. How many times you're looking at the x on the left and 4x squared? X times what is 4x squared? That's going to be 4x. So 4x times that is 4x squared. 4x times 5 is 20x. Subtracting those. These are going to cancel, and you're going to get 3x. Drop down to minus 16. How many x times what is 3x? Well, that's going to be times positive 3. So x times 3 is 3x. 3 times 5 is 15. You're subtracting the bottoms. So these will cancel out, and 16 minus 15 is going to be negative 31. So my remainder is negative 31. One way to write that is you just say r negative 31. So this is my answer. Another way to write that, if you got 4x plus 3, instead of saying r31, if I want to keep it as a polynomial, I can write it as minus 31 over the divisor, x minus 5. Let's write that a little bit better. So I can see it as minus 31 over x plus 5. And this is another way of writing this. Each is saying the same thing. So two different ways to write it. I don't mind if you just do the left one. All right. What about when the remainder is 0 and the divisor is a factor? So when the remainder is 0, the divisor is a factor of the dividend. What does that mean? So I might ask you a question. Is x minus 7 a factor of 3x squared minus 29x plus 56? What you do is you divide 3x squared minus 29x plus 56 by x minus 7 and see if you get a remainder. So I'm going to divide that in. X and 3x squared, that's going to go in 3x times. So 3x squared minus 21x. Subtracting the bottoms, these are going to cancel. Negative 29 minus negative 21 is plus, so it'll be negative 8. You're left with negative 8x. Drop down to positive 56. And then the question is, x times what is negative 8x? Times negative 8. So negative 8 times x is negative 8x. Negative 8 times 7 is positive 56. You are subtracting the bottoms. So subtracting those cancel out. 56 minus 56 is 0. So the remainder is 0. So since the remainder is 0, x minus 7 is a factor. So is that a factor? Yes. If I got a remainder with some number, then it would not be a factor. All right. What if there are missing terms? So just like when the last video, add, subtract, and multiply polynomials, sometimes you don't have missing terms. Like x to the fifth, we're missing x to the fourth, x cubed, x squared, and x. Well, what you want to do when you're doing the division is you want to put the 0 in for the missing terms. So I'm going to expand this x to the fifth minus 32. It'd be x to the fifth and minus 32 here, but then I have a bunch of 0x to the fourth, plus 0x cubed, 0x squared, and 0x. You have to have these in here like placeholders. So let's divide that out right now. X times what is x to the fifth? It'll be x to the fourth. So it'll be x to the fifth and minus 2x to the fourth. You're subtracting the bottoms. These cancel, and you get minus minus will be 2x to the fourth. Drop down a 0, x cubed. X times what is 2x to the fourth? It'll be plus 2x cubed. So that'll be 2x to the fourth. And 2 times negative 2 is negative 4x cubed. Subtracting the bottom, these cancel. I'm left with positive 4x cubed. Drop down this 0x squared. It's starting to get long, I know. So x times what is 4x cubed is going to be plus 4x squared. So 4x cubed, 4 times negative 2 is negative 8x squared. Subtracting the bottom, those cancel. You get positive 8x squared. Drop down the 0x. Okay, x times what is 8x squared? That would be positive 8x. 8 times that is 8x squared. 8 times negative 2 is negative 16x. Subtract that. And then I get positive 16x. Drop down to negative 32. So x times what is 16? That'll be positive 16. 16 times x is 16x. 16 times negative 2 is negative 32. And when you subtract these, those cancel out. 32, negative 32 plus 32 would be 0. So this is your answer. That's why you need to expand all that. So you need to put those placeholders, the 0 terms in there, just so you have all those places. All right, remainder theorem. So here's the definition of that. If you divide a polynomial p of x of degree n is greater than or equal to 1 by x minus a, then the remainder is p of a. What does that mean in English? So if I have this function here, p of x equals this polynomial right here. All right, what is the remainder when you divide this thing by x minus 3? So the formula is x minus a. That means basically I plug in what my a value is going to be into the equation and figure out what the remainder is. So I could do it the long division way and divide x to the fifth and all that by x minus 3, and it gets something here, and the remainder would be 182. But the easier solution for that is saying, in this case, since our a is going to be positive 3 because it's the opposite, I plug in 3 for this whole function. So just taking that down, I get, instead of x to the fifth, I get 3 to the fifth minus 2 times 3 to the cubed minus 3 squared plus 2. And I do the math on that. Well, 3 to the fifth power is going to be, something big. 27 times 9, which will be 7, 3, carry a 6, 18, 243. So it'll be 243 minus 3 cubed is 27 times 2 is going to be negative 54 minus 9 plus 2. And if you combine all that, 243 minus 54, I'm doing the math even. So that's going to take 1 from that. You're going to get a 9. And take 1 from that. You're going to get 8, 189. So you get 189 minus 9 minus 2 is going to be minus 7, which will be 182. So yeah, there's a lot of math there, but sometimes that's easier than trying to do the long division. So it's another way to find the remainder. Simpler way. All right, pause the video. Try this out. Okay, so I'm going to set this up. X plus 2, 2x squared, plus 7x plus 11. So dividing. So you're always looking at the left term right here and comparing it to this. So x times what is 2x squared? It's going to be 2x. 2x times that is 2x squared. 2x times 2 is 4x. Subtracting all that, these cancel. 7 minus 4 is going to be 3x. Drop down the plus 11. And then you're going to say, okay, x times what is 3x? Well, plus 3. So it'll be 3x and then plus 6. You're subtracting the bottoms. These cancel. 11 minus 6 is 5. So it's 2x plus 3, we'll say remainder 5. And that is your answer. Let's try another one. Pause the video. Okay, so I'm setting this up. Notice I'm missing the number term, the plus c. So I'll have to put a placeholder in for that. X minus 3, 9 cubed minus 15x squared plus 4x, we're going to say plus 0. We're going to have that in there. So what does that look like? Doing the math here, x times what is 9x cubed? That'll be 9x squared. So it'll be 9x cubed. 9 times 3 is negative 27x squared. Subtracting those cancel out. Negative 15 plus 27 will be positive 12x squared. Drop down the 4x. Alright, and what goes into that? X times what is 12x squared is plus 12x. So it'll be 12x squared. 12 times negative 3 is negative 36x. Subtracting that bottom, these cancel out. 4 plus 36 will be 40x. And drop down the 0. So it's going to be x times what is 40? It'll be plus 40. So 4 times x is 40x. And 4 times negative 3 is negative 120. So you subtract that and you're left with 120. So you'll have a remainder of 120. 9x squared plus 12x plus 40, remainder 120. There you go. Next one. Pause the video. Okay, it's only asking what's the remainder, so we can use the remainder theorem. Since you're dividing by x plus 3, your a is going to be the opposite, negative 3. So I'm going to plug in negative 3 into this polynomial. So you get, instead of x cubed, you get negative 3 cubed plus 5 times negative 3 squared plus 11 times negative 3 plus 15. Okay, negative 3 cubed is negative 27. Negative 3 squared is 9 times 5 is going to be 45. And that'll be negative 33 and plus 15. Going to combine these two first since they're opposites. Negative 27 plus 45 is going to be 3. It's going to be 18. These two combine to 18. And these two here, I'm going to combine those. That's going to combine to negative 18. Negative 3 plus 15. So then I got 18 minus 18. That's going to be 0. So the remainder is 0. That's it.